Good Sunday morning, everybody. It's going to be quite a day. It's going to be quite a day for Seattle sports fans. There's a lot on the line, a lot going on. And as a Seattle sports video maker, I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to be balancing it all out. Um, Obviously, the Mariners have their season come down to today, and I will find some way to talk about that as the day goes on because that's a big deal. And there exists a lot of possibilities for how this could end. But I know that you're here for Seahawks stuff, and I know that that's where a vast majority of my subscribers come from. So obviously, we're going to be focusing on that on this channel. So before this game kicks off, it's going to kick off in about 4 hours. Wanted to go over some last minute game notes from stuff we learned on Saturday. And we actually learned quite a bit about the Seahawks. Not so much about the Niners. I didn't really hear anything all that interesting from them. I think they activated a defensive lineman from the injured reserve, but we still don't really know what's going on with Kittle. I think he'll play. I don't think he's going to play a lot, and he's probably not going to be himself, but he's going to play. But other than that, we don't totally know what we're getting with the 49ers. So let's take a look at some Seahawks stuff here. There's actually quite a bit of news that we picked up in the last, I'd say, 24 plus hours. So first, good news here. Tyler Lockett, who, as we know, is listed as questionable, is expected to play per Adam Schefter and other sources on Twitter. So if you were concerned about not having Lockett, doesn't seem like it's a big concern. Now, is he 100%? Probably not. Is he going to be able to do all the things that he would normally do? Unlikely. And that sucks because we need all hands on deck, especially with this offense, because we know that the defense may or may not give us something positive after what we saw in last week's debacle. But we're going to have him out there, and that's the big one. So we can all breathe a sigh of relief about that one. That one carries more weight than any of this other stuff I'm going to go into for the rest of this video. Okay, so some bad news here, although at this point it's expected and arguably not even worth getting upset about. Rashaad Penny, not only is he not going to play, is headed back to injured reserve. This comes like a day after Pete Carroll said that he could play this week, but they're being extra cautious. So Rashaad Penny will not be eligible to return until I think after week 6. So 3 weeks of no Rashaad Penny starting this week. So at this point, I kind of talked myself into the Rashaad Penny thing in the new offense. I thought he would be a good fit for what Waldron likes to do. I still think in theory he could be, but it's just time for him to not play football anymore. This guy, to say he's made of glass is an understatement. This is a Kevin White level of not being able to stay on the football field, and I'm tired of it. And I'm tired of having that carrot dangled in front of me because I know you're never going to get the carrot at this point. It's just stick. All we get now is stick. All we get is he gets back, he gets injured one way or the other, and maybe we get him for a few carries before he actually gets hurt. That's the only question. Is he going to play a little bit before he gets hurt, or is he going to get hurt before he even actually plays in a game? So, as frustrating as it is, the party's over. I don't know if there was ever a party to begin with, but I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the will he or won't he thing with Penny. I'm over it. I was one of his last defenders, I think. Well, I wasn't really a defender, but I thought he had potential in this offense, but it's time to move on. Okay, so a few more injury updates include from Brady Henderson. Benson Mayowa has been downgraded to out. So I don't think Benson Mayowa is one of our best defensive players, but he's not bad. And the strength of our defense, in theory, and this hasn't manifested yet, in theory, it should be our depth on the defensive line. Now, that's not happening yet, obviously. It's been a complete disaster for the last 2 games, really. Very little pass rush against teams that we should have been able to get pressure on. So I don't think this is that big of a deal. In a way, I'm kind of happy because it's going to put players who I think are better on the field. It's going to put players like Darrell Taylor and hopefully Alton Robinson, we'll talk about him in a second, on the field a little more. But I do not discount the value of having someone like a Benson Mayowa. He's a journeyman, but he's not bad. And he was actually doing a serviceable job playing that dual linebacker role, which I I'm not in love with putting Mayowa in that spot, but I like putting Alton Robinson in that spot even less. So if you have to drop some of these linemen into coverage, I would rather it be Mayowa than Alton Robinson or Carlos Dunlap. But he's out. Not a huge deal, but I'm aware of his value. Some good news, though. Brady Henderson, later in this tweet, says that Colby Parkinson and Cedric Ogbuehi have been activated. So Colby Parkinson might get some playing time because we may not have Gerald Everett. I'll get to that in a second. And even if Gerald Everett does play, Colby Parkinson will probably find the field on a couple of plays throughout the game. So good for him. Hope he can find a way to make a contribution. His skill set should lend itself to doing some things. Not a lot of things, but some things. And Cedric Ogbuehi could push Jamarco Jones at right tackle if Jamarco Jones struggles. And I think Jamarco played okay against the Vikings. I thought he was fine. But if things go south for him against a 49ers pass rush that should create some problems, you have Cedric Ogbuehi in your back pocket, which I think is a slight improvement. And Cody Thompson elevated from the practice squad, which isn't surprising at this point. With Dwayne Eskridge out, Cody Thompson seems to be the next man up in the eyes of this team, which surprises me a little bit, but it's certainly fine. He's probably not going to play on the offense any. If he does, it won't be very much. And as for the Gerald Everett thing, because this is the other big issue that is kind of looming over the Seahawks right now, we have not had any word on him yet. He would have had to test negative yesterday, and he would need to test negative today. And we don't know if he tested negative yesterday. I don't know if teams are obligated to report that kind of stuff. Maybe no news is good news. I don't know. But this can still go either way. It feels a little weird to me that we didn't hear anything either way. But possibly, if he tested positive a second time, they would have come out and said he's not playing. So the fact that they haven't said anything could be good news. I do know that having him out there is a fairly significant deal because the creative ways in which we use him in terms of where he lines up and how he's utilized, being able to play receiver and tight end, that's valuable to the Shane Waldron offense, and I know he really likes doing that kind of stuff. So, to me, if you don't have him out there, it's a significant deal. I know his numbers are not huge yet. I know some people are saying, where is this guy? Where's the Gerald Everett we were promised? But I think that the seeds of a really capable tight end room are being planted with Everett and Dissly, and hopefully eventually Parkinson. So I hope he's out there, and I'm hoping that no news is good news. And I feel like you could make a pretty good argument that we would have heard about it if he tested positive again. Now, as Brady Henderson says here, he's on the COVID list, so we have an open roster spot. So we only needed to make the one subtraction to add Parkinson and Ogbuehi. So I'm guessing that if Everett plays, then one of those two may be declared inactive. So maybe if if Everett can't play, then you activate Parkinson. But if he can play, then you don't need Parkinson. And one final word, and this one is not an injury, but it's certainly relevant to this fan base's interest right now. Carroll had some comments in his press conference that basically indicated that he is aware of the fact that we're not doing well against the pass right now, and that he at least opened the door for Blessuan Austin and Sidney Jones to play and maybe play significantly against the 49ers. Now, when he was asked specifically, are Sidney Jones and Blessuan Austin going to play, he basically said, we'll see. He didn't say yes, he didn't say no, he said we'll see. And that makes sense, right? That you don't want to tell the other team what you're going to do before the game. So he's being vague. And I would be really surprised if Sidney Jones, at least, if not Sidney Jones and Blessuan Austin, didn't see significant playing time against the 49ers. So it seems like we're trying to do something different here, and I know that's going to excite some people. I'm not super optimistic. I'm aware that Sidney Jones is, at this point in his career, a bust. And Blessuan Austin, he got booted off the worst team in the league, or one of the worst teams in the league. So these are not blue chippers. These are not guys who have a lot of positive energy behind them. Now, they deserve a chance to play. And frankly, the players that we have out there right now haven't done anything to prove that they deserve a chance to keep their jobs. But I'm not convinced. But for those of you out there who truly believe that Trey Flowers and maybe DJ Reed and or whatever, if you think those guys are a huge negative right now and they're the thing that is holding this team back, for whatever it's worth, Carroll has indicated that they have a good chance of at least playing against the 49ers. So I'm going to get out of here on that note. Game starts in 4 hours. See you guys later. We will be doing a post-game video, post-game stream. You guys know how we do it. Hopefully we have something good to talk about later this afternoon. See y'all later.